kicking back on this summer breeze. Welcome to Double K's Classroom. Class is officially in session.
The following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm back with part 2 of Double K's Classroom number 100. Last week we had, or 2 weeks ago, we had on Saint, Suave, and Alpha talking sports. This week I brought back an old friend of the show and an even older friend of mine. The one and only Jaimel Hemphill. How are you doing today, brother?
Good, man. Can't complain. Just living the life, another day, another 50 cent, so just happy to be here, man. Good to see you, even if it's only Zoom. And yeah, happy to be here, bro.
Right on. All right, so I kind of pick a particular subject or sport or team to talk about, and me and my boy here have been fans of the Oakland A's since, well, I want to say since we took our first steps. I think our first word may have been athletic. I don't know. That'd be a big word for a kid, but definitely been hardcore fans the whole time. Been through a lot of down years, years. It's kind of like being a Warriors fan, for a while there. But the A's have become more known for getting you going.
Yeah.
And getting you right there and then dropping you, including losses in the wild card round, just Minnesota eating us alive when we did get into the actual, divisional round. And but let's talk about this year's A's. Let's start off with their positioning at this point. We went from being basically like the number 2 team in all of the American League, if not the major leagues, to now being 3.5 games out of the second wild card spot, with the Yankees and Red Sox both holding the 1 and 2 spots respectively. Man, just overall thoughts on this, on what seems to be this fall from grace.
Yeah, I think baseball is a finicky game. Like everyone's very superstitious, and streaks have a way. I think because it's such a mental game, you do get affected by, I guess, what you would call it, and I think in golf they call it the yips.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Simone Biles suffer. She called it the twisties in gymnastics.
Yeah.
And I think baseball has its own version of the yips. I think like little things like your mental state, whether someone gets injured or your consistency gets messed up. I think it affects your play. And the A's have had 2 pretty big things. Chris Bassett took a baseball to the face. God bless him and his family. So glad he's okay. Of course, we want to see him pitch and everything, but I just want him to have a good life and be healthy, just on a human level. But I'm glad he was there. But he was kind of like the quarterback of the pitching staff.
Yeah.
100%. Baseball, they have their dugout leaders and whatnot, dudes who kind of lead by example. And Chris Bassett seemed to be one of those guys, and he's been out. And then, more importantly, Ramon Laureano is the most consistent guy in the lineup for this year. For the past couple of years, he's that dude that A's have always had, that 1 or 2 sluggers. That's what we've been known for. Back like my entire lifetime, back to Martin McGuire and Jose Canseco, up here now to Crush Davis, to Giambi to now you got Ramon Laureano, and Ramon Laureano then gets suspended.
Yeah.
So the correlation may not be causation, but I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence that Ramon Laureano gets suspended and all of a sudden the A's can't score.
Yeah, they're having all these
issues
now.
He's they have all these dudes on base and they get left stranded. Right. There have been games that Laureano has single-handedly won for us.
Yeah, very much so. He threw off my entire fantasy baseball season. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. There's like games like I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I can remember games where Laureano was directly or indirectly responsible for every single run scored in that game. He's hit game-winning home runs. He's hit walk-offs. He's been the dude who's gotten on base, started rallies. He's been the dude who stopped the other team from scoring with his cannon arm. Don't sleep on a guy getting suspended like that. Like, what happens if Jeter goes out for the Yankees? Early 2000 Yankees. Like, that's what happened. This is like Mark McGwire getting suspended when in the middle of him and Sammy Sosa going for the home run record.
Amazing.
This is Tim Hudson getting suspended. When we had the three aces. So it's not or what's his name, Buster Posey gets suspended in the middle of the Giants home run or World Series runs.
Well, I was gonna say that's a great example because you said, in you can definitely say, and I've always said, I don't take it away from Giants fans. I've always had issues with calling what they had a dynasty because of the fact of the down years in between. But I was like, I will give you one of those, and they were like, what do you mean? I will give you the 1 year when Buster Posey got hurt right out the gate. Because that just deflated y'all right off the back. So that year I can kind of give you a pass on. I was like, but that other year you returned a full team and couldn't repeat what you did the year before. And it doesn't make any sense when you return basically the same damn team and y'all don't do exactly what y'all did the year before. I can't call it a dynasty, but anyway, but that's a prime example of how that loss of one player can derail something that would have been beautiful had it not, because you think if they do win it in that year, then that's a three-peat, which as an A's fan, I really don't want to see a Giants three-peat, but then they would actually have more of an argument for that being an actual dynasty. And then it would have been 4 out of 5, kind of what the Warriors should have had 2019 not happened.
Exactly. So I mean, like it's like games. It's the streak. Like baseball is interesting. Sitting here talking to you and thinking about it. So this is kind of a stream of consciousness. But baseball is an interesting hybrid of basketball and football. Like you've got a larger roster, like a 30-man or 40-man roster, like football. But individual players can really affect what happens on the field because there's less than 10 players on the field. Like basketball, one guy changes the game because there's only 5 people there. Right. Like you it's really hard to hide a weak spot when there's only 5 people on the court. And baseball is the same way. On defense, it's really hard to hide a guy who's not as talented as the rest of the people because he's got a part of the field. There's only so many shifts you can do. Right. If this guy is not athletic enough, or this guy isn't, his range, his speed isn't there. Okay, that means the gap that I can hit the ball in is bigger. Because he may not be able to make it left or right to catch his ball and stop it from getting to the outfield. If your shortstop is weak, it's a problem. If your second baseman is weak, it's a problem. If your first baseman don't have quick hands, okay, if I get there in time, so I arrive right when the ball does, I can make him miss that ball. Right? If your catcher isn't stout, I can slide into him and score that run. So it's hard to hide weaknesses. So when you take someone out of the outfield, especially like Ramon Laureano, who has incredible range, you're not going to run on him. That affects the game. Now the A's have made a trade for Starling Marte, which this may, like, the silver lining is, let's say the A's don't make the playoffs this year. The silver lining is next year they have a chance to have both Ramon Laureano and Starling Marte in their outfield. Now, let's say Chris Davis comes back at 75% of who he was when last time he was on the A's, and your outfield is Starling Marte, Ramon Laureano, and Chris Davis. That's a problem. That's a problem.
In the batting box and on the field for anybody.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Don't even make any of them the DH. Put them in your lineup and get somebody else to be the DH. Now the heart of your lineup is scary from 3 to 6. is scary.
Hold on. You got Olsen, Davis.
Yeah, you still got Chapman in the lineup.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, hold on. I'm getting to him. That's it.
Yeah.
You got Olsen. You got Davis. You got Marte's actually leading off. So you got Olsen. You got Davis. You got Laureano, followed by Chapman. And then you're starting off with 1 through 5 could devastate you if they set it up right.
Yeah,
you put a Tony Kemp or somebody in there.
You still got Elvis Andrus, Tony Kemp, and Mark Cannon.
Yep.
That's a problem. That's a problem. So yes, if the A's for some reason don't make it to the playoffs, and I honestly, without Laureano, I'm not sure they're a World Series winning team.
Right.
Right. So it's
without
like
that spark plug.
Yeah, like without Laureano, I don't think they win a World Series. It'd be nice to see him in the playoffs, but I don't expect them to make it past the divisional round without somebody like Laureano. Yeah. But Starling Marte, like next year, even if let's say Chris don't come back, right? Yeah. You still got Tony Kemp in left field. So you put Ramon in right, Starling in center, Tony
Harrison
Kemp in left.
too.
Yeah,
Josh Harrison can play the outfield as well.
Exactly. So I mean, you know, and the A's have had good shortstops and third basemen for the past 20 years. Yeah. So that's their thing. Is really
they back to Crosby and Chavez and
we got Elvis Andrus right now at shortstop. Yeah. So I think what they need to do is just for once start keeping these players. Like Starling Marte is one of the greatest trades, as we said before we started recording. He's probably the best pickup in the past 5-6 years easily. Maybe the best past decade, but I just haven't been up on that. I just root for whoever's wearing green and gold. You know, I don't really pay attention. But like I'd have to go back. I don't know, man. I don't really, you know. And even Josh Harrison, you know, who we picked up from the Pirates. Like these are good players. We've got good players. You know,
I'll bring up 2 points. First and foremost, a sneaky good trade it was the one where they picked up Josh Harrison that a lot of people don't talk about. This part of the trade is that they picked up Yan Gomes, who's a veteran catcher from the Nationals that has some experience that can steady the Sean Murphys and Armis Garcias that we have that are still growing into solid catchers in a Major League Baseball. But that, and I have to say this. The addition of Laureano definitely lifts us up, but I think finding or solidifying the closing position will be what gets us to a World Series or takes us deep into the playoffs. Until we can find somebody that can anchor that like Liam Hendricks did for the past couple of years, you know, somebody young that we can lock down long term. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we know we got a closer. Like when we had Eckersley, like you knew there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When Eck came in the ninth, you knew the game was done. You know, there was. I'll admit it. It shocked the living shit out of me when Kirk Gibson hit that home run because I knew for a fact it does. It does.
That still hurts my. And you know what? That's the one thing. Like people laugh about the Bay Area where people are like both A's and Giants fans, but I think what's different about the Bay Area is that. Yeah, you root for one side or the other, but we're united in our hate of the Dodgers.
Yes. 100%.
In ways that not a lot of other municipalities are. Like, it doesn't matter what side of the Bay you're on, you hate the Dodgers. Like, I don't even trip off the Angels. I don't really care. I hate the Dodgers. I hate them. I hate them so much. Like, as only a 12-year-old who watched Kirk Gibson run around those bases can. I hate the Dodgers so much. I just hope the worst for them. I just want the worst for them. I just want all bad things in life to happen to the Dodgers. I can't stand them.
And it's almost like life's big FU that they continue to succeed despite all this hatred we put out there towards them.
It's the worst. I don't even hate the Yankees as much as I hate the Dodgers. You know, and I should. The Yankees is at least in our league. Yeah. You know, but I hate the Dodgers. And I'm going to hate them until we get them back in the World Series and we beat them. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna. It's a lifelong thing for me. It's a childhood hate. It's a special kind of hate.
That was the one that it could have at least been 2 out of 3. Yeah. If we beat them that year, because we beat the Dodgers the next year and then we lost to the Big Red Machine in '90.
Yeah.
You know, and people forget that the A's, like, people laugh at the A's. Oh, they forget the A's used to be cream of the crop for a while.
The A's was the best, and I think that's what's going to start. Is they? I don't like we got to address the elephant in the room, for lack of a better term, no pun intended. But they're not moving to Vegas.
Yeah.
All right. Vegas is the new LA. It's the place that people threaten to go to get their new stadium. That's what they do. You know, at least it was until the Raiders went, right?
Yeah.
But like, just so I need to put this out there, because stop blaming the city of Oakland. Okay. The Warriors, Joe Lacob bought that team with the intention of moving them as a land grab to San Francisco. So for those of you who aren't in the Bay Area, when he bought the team, the press conference was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It was painfully obvious that he did not think well of Oakland, and he was going to try to move from the jump. All right. Yeah. Mark Davis registered the website Las Vegas Raiders in 1999. Damn. All right. That is, he registered that thing in 1999. You can look it up in the internet registry that has been registered since 1999 by Mark Davis, or by whatever his shell company is called. So the moment Al Davis passed away without a new stadium in Oakland, they were not dealing in good faith. The moment Al Davis passed away, the Raiders were not dealing in good faith. It was LA, or it was Las Vegas. And even LA was a feint, because it would have been free, right? They would have been the second team in the Rams stadium. That's the only reason he would have done it. And it would have just bought him time until he could get to Las Vegas, because that's where he wanted to go from the jump. So Libby Schaaf, the current mayor of Oakland, her sights has been set on saving the A's from the jump.
Okay.
That is it. She knew 3-4 years ago that the only team she was going to be able to keep was the Oakland A's. Yeah. So I have no doubt that they're going to get the stadium in Howard Terminal. The argument is over how much the city has to spend. The city's like, yo, we're not paying for your stadium. We will pay for the municipal responsibility. We'll like pay for the roads, we'll pay for the water, we'll pay for all that stuff, but we're not paying for your stadium.
Yeah.
And so that's what the A's are trying to get over, and trying to say, you know, give us tax breaks and everything and all, but yada, yada, yada. Because once again, this is about real estate. People understand, they get their heart involved because they're fans. This is about real estate. The John Fisher does not care about winning baseball games like you and I do. He does not care about, you know, civic pride, because he's from San Francisco, not Oakland. He cares about making money off the real estate that his team is on. That is why they give up players, because they don't have to win to make money. They get money from the TV deal. They get money from the radio deal. They don't care. So I mean, fans.
And the less you can spend on the field, the more money you put in your pocket.
Exactly. You need to understand, this is a business for them. Now, it might be a different story. It's a whole other show where we could talk about how the MLB, the NFL, and the NBA have monopoly exemptions. They're exempt from being monopolies. And if that was repealed, then they wouldn't be able to move, because any city can start a team that would be part of the league, and they would have to accept them.
Really?
Yeah, that is why there's only 30. Because if you think about it, it's a cabal. It's 32 owners who have gotten together, and they have a monopoly on football or baseball or basketball, right? They get together. They decide whether or not you can have a major league team, because they get to vote and decide whether or not your team is major league. Whereas if you go to Europe, any city or any municipality or any person can start up a professional club, and if they're good enough, they make it to the Premier League, right?
Right, because there's actually a ladder for them to climb where they go.
Exactly. But you can't do that in America.
Right.
Can you just start a football team and then make it to the NFL? No. But in theory, if the NFL was in Europe, yes, you could, because it has to have a relegation. So yeah, if we take away the exemption, these teams wouldn't be able to hold municipalities over things. That's a whole nother show. But nevertheless, the A's will not move. We're going to get the stadium, and I'm saying that to say that we may see them keep Starling Marte and some of these players and spend a little money, because they have to have goodwill to get people behind the stadium. And if you're still crapping on the fans and doing all this stuff, you're not going to get that what you want there. So, yeah.
100%. Like, hey, man. All right, so we're gonna have to wrap it up there. So just so it's not too long, I got another couple of parts that I got to get to with some other people here. Thank you for joining me, episode 100, man. Big time, making this special. Before I go back to the just me for, thank you. Before we go back to just me for a half hour, I know y'all been happy with all these other voices, but we'll be back to me soon. Anyway, thanks for joining us. That's it for us this week. We'll be back in a little bit after a quick break with the next segment. Peace. You are listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
Hey, what's up, y'all? And this is yet another segment on what seems to be the never-ending episode of Double K's Classroom, episode 100. We're going to drag this out for as long as possible, y'all. Now, today I am joined by a woman who has battled with me on the debate desk sports-wise on many of occasions, and she has been with us on 4Aces and on West Coast Bias for now, 3 years now? At least 3-4 years, if not longer than that. I want to say pretty much since we've been on Spreaker.
I'd say no. I started before Spreaker.
Oh yeah, huh?
I'd say 6 years now, maybe.
Wow, we've been at it for 6 years.
Yeah,
now that hasn't been
crazy.
A weekly thing,
No.
Unfortunately. But it is definitely
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a milestone right there.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, like this is year what? This is year 13 for me in the podcasting game altogether. So, but Double K's Classroom, like I tell people all the time, started out as a weekly segment on West Coast Bias when we all used to do our individual segments, which, by the way, we're bringing that back for the new season. We're going to bring back the spotlight segments where everybody gets their spotlight to go off on what they want to go off. This started off as that, moved to a Friday night show right before Raw Impact Unleashed, and has blossomed into everything that it is now, YouTube, so on and so forth. But we bring in everybody for this special episode, and everybody gets one subject or two subjects for us to ramble about. And Ms. Heather, we've always had our most fun talking about them Warriors, them Dubs.
That beautiful basketball.
Yes. Even in losing seasons, they seem to play amazing. I've enjoyed watching every single one of their games. Steph being like one of the best players I've ever seen grab a basketball. His returning splash brother Clay, as we've watched this team that should not be struggle for the past 2 years. The return of Clay is going to be a big. Now they're talking about December return for Clay. So how you feeling about our chances of keeping our head above water with this roster we got right now, keeping the head above water and staying in the thick of that playoff hunt before we get our sharpshooter back?
Oh, I think that they're just going to be like on that, riding that wave, getting ready to that point. I think that their spirits and their energy is going to be super high, wanting to give him a cushion when he's coming in, to kind of get his feet wet back again. So I think that they're really going to go out there and play their hearts out until Clay is able to come back, so that when he comes back, they're already looking good and there's less stress on him.
And I've actually thought of many points for why they will do well, and that has not been one of them. Like, that's something that I agree with 100%. Like, they want to be rolling when Clay gets in there, because Clay is really one of those plug and play kind of guys where he can step in and just ride the wave with them and keep it going. And so it will be on Steph, Wiggins. I'm hoping that Wiseman makes that jump this year. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because we need him to make that jump. He doesn't need to become Jokic, but
right,
if he can become a better version of what JaVale McGee could have been from his rookie year, we'll be in a good place.
Absolutely.
But let's move forward to these rookies that they brought in. I like the Kuminga kid. The more I see of him, what I saw of him in summer league, I like him. Like, give him a couple years and maybe add about 100 pounds to his frame, and we've got our version of Giannis. Like the kid can play D. He's definitely how do you
He
say?
looks like such a baby right now. I'm like,
man.
I thought we stopped getting kids out of high school, right?
Oh, and what's funny is that he is only like 19.
Yeah.
Like he is a baby. Like, but he played in the Ignite League, right? The G League.
Yeah.
On the G League Ignite team instead of going to his 1 year of college. But wow, man, yeah, babies. It's funny though, because Moses Moody is actually.
Does that mean we're getting old?
I think so. I think we have to embrace it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. But I'm thinking, like my co-host Alpha says on Cheap Pop, he always calls me the Silver Fox. And I'm like, dude, you got me about ready to go buy Just for Men and darken my shit up a little bit, all right?
I guess we just got to embrace it at this point, right?
Because hey, every day is another day, and that's added. Like I used to always say to my little sister, I say we got more spins of this planet behind us than we do ahead of us. But you know what? We still got plenty of them ahead of us. We ain't that old.
Next thing you know, we're gonna be on the porch yelling at kids to turn their music down. Like,
hey, I ain't gonna lie. Look, I was 25 looking at fools that I could feel the vibrations of their car going, man, can you turn that down? I'd like to listen to my radio, please.
Or at least get some Dynamac because your shit is rattling.
Oh, I missed that rattle though. I missed that because dudes thought they were so cool.
Every single screw loose in the entire trunk.
Oh man, I did not have that problem when I had my system in my Jetta. I did not have that problem. But just the same, yes. We're getting it, but compared to these kids coming into the NBA and the NFL, yeah, we old because I used to always be able to say, if I went to college, I might have been able to be an NFL wide receiver. Now it's so far back, why mention it?
Well, I mean, even LeBron makes me feel old when I think of how old he is compared to how old I am, and he looks old as fuck.
Yes,
like I don't think I look that old. He looks older than I do, and I'm
man.
older than he is.
Oh man, I can definitely say that. I told somebody that the other day. I said, I may be going on 44, but I can say one thing: my hairline is still here. It's not back here. Like all the stress, I may have all the gray hairs I have, but my hairline is still here.
Well, and it stays there from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, right? It doesn't like move.
My forehead doesn't grow. Like, yeah. No. Oh man. But yeah. But no, and what trips me out is that I want to say Moses Moody is the older one. Like he's 19 about to turn 20 and Kuminga's 18 about to be 19. But both of them, like you say, I look at them and I just go, you babies. Somebody just give you a hug. And
like,
just
are
tell
you even allowed to vote yet?
Oh, man.
Did your mom have to sign your permission slip to come on this field trip?
Oh my goodness. Is mom gonna pack you a lunch for road trips?
She wrote your initials and all your clothes before you went to training camp.
Oh, killing me. Oh man. But what these kids are gonna bring on the basketball court is I believe it's gonna be something special. I like our future with those two, as long as we don't end up moving them like for the win now type thing. Because I believe that both of them can contribute now and end up being that big three for us with him, Kuminga, and Wiseman for our future.
Yeah, I don't think that we're where we should be at right now to play the win now game.
Right.
Like, I feel like we need to get, I think we're still rebuilding a little bit, right? Still allowing the team that we have now to kind of grow together. We have teammates right now who've never even played with Clay, right? So I don't think we're it's not like when we added Durant, right? Like we were just that one puzzle piece away. It just doesn't make any sense the whole reason why the Warriors have been who they are is because they have built and grown and, grown together as a team, grown together as kids. We're talking about how young these players are looking at. Look at how young Steph and Clay looked when they first came in.
Steph looked like my best friend from 7th grade when he came into the league.
I think he was still in junior high when he entered the league. But the reason why the team became what it was because they grew up and grew into a team together. And then we were able to plug and play some extra veteran support, right. and then those guys all meshed, and then you popped in KD. So it wasn't just, and that's also too like why we've always had this argument about the super team as far as the Warriors go. Could they say that once we added KD? A little bit, but other than that, like, we drafted well.
The team grew together.
One of the shirts that I love the most is the Warrior shirt that has the list of the year that Steph was drafted and how many of those people went before him. And where are some of those guys now?
Johnny Flynn, I don't even think he's in the league anymore.
Right? So, this is a team that was built from the ground up in a lot of ways.
It was.
And ain't Iggy back now?
I was just going to say that. Thanks for transitioning us right into the next subject. With the return of Iggy, that's what has me having high hopes. It's because Iggy was always that glue that solidified the second team. Iggy doesn't need to start. We have Wiggins for that. And Iggy can guide these young bucks and work and be out there with them and make things happen.
And that even means more than his talent alone. The force that he is, the type of leadership he is, the type of player he is inside inside the locker room and on the court, like, that's the dude that you want on your team. So 100%. Especially for these new kids coming up, because they're about to see some like old school Magic. Right.
No, really. Like, and that's why I made the comment earlier where I said I like our future, because those two kids learning from these specific players, just hold on to them, Bob, Jacob, just hold on to them. And trust me, in the end, it will pay off, because these kids are going to come in, they're going to learn how to win, they're going to learn how to play, and they're going to learn from champions. And they're going to learn from people who have been there and who have done that. Last year, I thought the team was kind of lacking without Clay. It was just, it was hard to watch games just because, I'm like, we should be stomping this team. And we're struggling with them. A team like Memphis, we should have rolled over them.
Yeah.
And just, I get it, John Morant, but that having Iggy back, having, I like the signing of Otto Porter Jr. I think if he stays healthy, he can be huge. Belica, I like him as a stretch four. When Draymond plays the 5, they went out and got a couple of good veterans. They brought back David Lee, or not David. Yeah, they brought back Lee, right? Or Damian Lee. They brought back Lee. They brought back Juan Toscano Anderson. I really like him. I really like his energy. Of course, Wiseman's back, and then you got these young bucks. They're still trying to fill.
Isn't Damian Lee Steph Curry's brother-in-law?
Is he? I could have I want to say he is.
The one that's married to Sadell?
I think so. Yeah. Wow. Maybe that's why he's still on the team. But you have all these returning players, and then you have that infamous 15th spot on the bench that they have yet to fill. They have their full $5.9 million exemption. Paul Millsap just signed with the Nets. DeAndre Jordan's punk ass is going to he's going to take himself to the Lakers. There was rumor had it that we worked out.
That's all going to backfire so much, and I cannot wait to see it implode. There are too many egos going on that team right now.
Oh my God. And I'm not saying they can't play together. I'm saying if you expect them to magically figure it out in the first year, you're asking for too much.
And a lot of those guys are only there for 1 year.
Yeah. And here's the deal.
What they're doing isn't sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. Long term, it's not. Like, you bring in Westbrook, that's fine. But is he the leader of the team? Is LeBron the leader of the team? How are they going to work that out? Is Westbrook going to take a back seat? What's going to happen with AD? I thought AD was supposed to be the leader of the team. Like, y'all, somebody asked a good question. They're like, with them signing DeAndre Jordan, what the fuck's going to happen with Marc Gasol? Like, is he just along for the ride at this point? Like, there is a such thing as too much talent on the team. Whether people want to believe it or not.
Too much talent also equals too much ego.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that the Warriors had when they brought in KD is they had a team that was willing to do whatever it took to win a championship. I just don't see that in the pedigree of this Lakers team. No, you got Rondo and Westbrook on the same team. Like really? Like, unless only way I could see it halfway working is if they make the decision to run Westbrook out the 2 instead of the 1 and let Rondo run the point. Then it might work, but they still ain't winning a championship. I'm sorry, they're just not. They could easily be knocked off by a Jazz team or by a team like Phoenix again.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's our timer. We're gonna wrap it up. It's been amazing talking sports with you again. We'll be doing this again within the next couple of weeks on West Coast Bias, so y'all keep an eye out for that. And
congratulations on your 100th episode.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you very much. And yes, we'll be in touch soon to set that up. And y'all, thanks for listening in. We got one more segment coming up, and that'll be the end of this version of Double K's Classroom for right now before we come back again. All right, that's it. Peace. You are listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
All right, and for the final segment of this week's Double K's Classroom, episode 100, part 2, it's just me to close out. And I just want to say some thank yous real quick to folks like the Saint over there at Now Versus Then, who helped hit me into this game. People like Suave and OMalley and the Duel, who will probably be on next week's episode of Double K's Classroom, episode 101, when we kick off the new look and the new sound. Yeah, like they all were a piece of what made this so fun to do. People like Marty F., who joined me a few months back for some hockey talk, and just all the people that have helped me come up with ideas for shows, so on and so forth. I'll close by saying this. The 49ers, regardless of what anybody say, look good this season and look like they probably are going to tear some stuff up as soon as this defense gets its shit together. What else? The Warriors, I'm going to say it again. I said it twice during a couple of segments, one with Saint, one with OMalley. That Kuminga kid, you give him some time to grow, to put on some muscle and some extra weight, and I'm going to tell you right now, he could be the next Giannis. And you could keep him paired with Moody and Wiseman as our 3 young studs moving forward. And I think this Warriors team has something special to look forward to. But hopefully we won't move them for a win now superstar, somebody that can help us win a championship right now within the next couple of years before Steph and Clay and Draymond retire. But we'll see. As far as the A's, man, they've kind of slid back at this point, a little bit out of the playoff race. I hope they can climb themselves back into it, or out of the wild card spot. Hopefully they can climb themselves back into it. They were one of the best records in baseball early on, just like the Giants. And just recently they've just slid. The Bassett head injury was one that really left the team feeling like, wow, what could happen next? And when guys like Hemphill said, if we can lock up somebody like a Sterling Marte long term, I think that would work out for the A's as far as continuing to win the way that they have been. But will they lock him up? I think that's a whole nother subject. Like, I think locking him up for more long term is going to take a little bit more than maybe what the Oakland A's have to give. All right. Other than that, keep joining us. I'm just going to kind of make this last little bit. I'm not going to keep it more about 4 or 5 minutes. This last little bit about Saint, or not Saint, but 4-H Presents in general. We're a collective of shows. I believe there's about 8 to 10 of us at this point that come on either weekly, bi-weekly, or sometimes monthly to entertain you. And we have guys like Mr. Deacon with the Mr. Deacon Experience, as well as The Browns Are Trash, or good videos, and the man is taking it to a whole nother level. And then we've got guys like the Saint, who's still on the grind with the independent music scene and getting us switched over to big things to come, along with the likes of Miss Toy and Sam Brett. 2021 and 2020 has been a very unique and kind of rough road for the 4H's crew, but we're still here. We're still rolling. Alpha is still here with me with the Cheap Pop podcast. OMalley and Duel are still here with me with Double K's class, or not Double, but West Coast Bias. I'm still here with Double K's Classroom and with KD5P. So you guys just please keep listening in. Like I said, we're about to move over to a site or a station called Live 365 that we hope will expand us even more so than what we already are. And so this is going to wrap up episode 100. I hope you guys have enjoyed 100 episodes of Double K's Classrooms. I know I've enjoyed bringing them to you, and we'll see you guys on the flip side with episode 101. But it'll be a new beginning, new intro, new look, new logo, and that'll be for most of the 4 shows that I'm a part of for 4 Aces. So peace. This has been Double K for episode 100 part 2, technically episode 101, but episode 100 part 2 of Double K's Classroom. We'll see you guys in the coming weeks. Peace.